that I could do whatever I dream of, even if no one else thinks that my demographic can. Yo, YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Ro. Man, got another good episode for y'all today. And it's one that I'm pretty passionate about. It's not video games, it's not sports, but it's about why did I write a book? And no, it's not a book about me. Disclaimer. It's a fictional book. And yeah, I wrote a fictional book, released it last year, and kind of shocked a lot of people. Not kind of, I'd be lying if I said kind of. It really shocked people because it's just like, they see me, a typical athlete, you know, black or white, just typical athlete, and they're like, oh, why would you write a book? A fictional book. It's not small, it's pretty hefty, almost about 500 pages. And they're like, oh, why would you write a book? And man, since I was young, I love reading. I used to get in trouble a lot. I was a troublemaker back in elementary school and middle school. So in middle school, when I used to be in ISS, I used to just read. And I grew up reading, you know, some of the greatest fictional writing, you know, Aragon, favorite book series, Christopher Paolioni, the GOAT, Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson series, you know, you got Game of Thrones, Harry Potter. I used to read Jack Ryder, you know, books like that, and Hunger Games, of course. But thing that I realized that it was amazing that you're able to let your imagination tell a story for other people to sit there and say, like, they're in your world, they can see your vision. And now that we see so many fictional writing become TV series, like they got How to Train Your Dragon. I remember I read that book when it first came out, and I was like, oh my God, like, who knew a title, How to Train a Dragon, which doesn't teach you how to train a dragon at all because they don't exist. But who knew a book like that could become so monumental to where that it became an animated movie series, and now it's live action because the way CGI and stuff is, like, you could make that happen. And I'm like, dude, I would love for, you know, my ideas to make it to the TV, you know, or movie screens. And when I went to the military, when we went to the military, I went to the academy school, and we went through basic training just like they do in enlisted. So even though I'm an officer, I still go through basic training, and we didn't have cell phones, no access to the internet, no cell phones. You know, all you can do is write letters, you know, and because of that, I was in my thoughts. So we used to journal. Now, usually when they want us to journal, it would be like, oh, journal about like how you feel about the day. But me, I just journaled about my book. And I just kept talking about like this book. No one knew about it. I just kept talking about this book and my book ideas. And just kept putting ideas down. And then I kind of let it go after I graduate. Well, not graduate, but like, you know, moved up out of the base as a basic cadet to now a cadet. Completely forgot about it. And I had went through my journal in 2021 before I left Richmond to go to Abilene Christian. So I kept that journal. I still had it, kept it. And then I revisited it 2 years later after adding more ideas. So now I'm done with football. Not playing football anymore. And I moved to Colorado. I was like, you know what? I'm going to write my book. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish something that I started, because now I have like all my ideas like all coming together. And man, did I. It took me roughly about 4 to 5 months to just every day, new chapter, every day, a new chapter. And no one else knew about it. It was only like a select few people. I had a really close friend at the time who knew about it, and they kept me motivated throughout it. My family knew about it, but you know, I didn't tell a lot of people, because I said this in one of my old videos, that if you tell people your ideas, there's a chance that they give you a negative thought that you didn't even think of, and it just deters you, slows you down. It's dead weight. It's not needed. You don't need this type of criticism. Just get it done. And I did. I got the book done and I finished it, and people were impressed. You know, got some reviews on Amazon and have more than enough copies sold. And it's not for the money. I don't care about getting rich from it. I don't care. If I have one selfish goal, is that I want it made into like a TV series. That's it. But besides that, I wrote the book because there's not a lot of African American representation New York bestsellers, let alone African American males. Nonfiction, there are. Anybody can name Deion Sanders or, you know, David Goggins, guys who have an amazing story that people are going to listen to because it is nonfiction. It's about your life. It's autobiography or biography, fitness or anything like that. But to actually write fictional writing, it's not a lot of them. I think it was like Mr. Whitehead, Mr. Mosley, like those are the few that I can name of. And I remember reading a study that they had for New York Times. I think it was 2012, that year 2012. So the study came out in 2013, where out of 123 New York bestsellers, only 3 of them were people of color, male or female. 3 of them were people of color out of all of them. And in the top 10, none of them was of color. Because it's like, we're not easily represented. They don't think that, actually, I take that back. After doing it, it's not because they don't think, it's just that we don't know to do that. When they talk about people of color, it's, all the athletes, all the musicians, all the entertainers. But to write a book, to show that you have an imagination and it's not about slavery or, like prejudices or some type of discrimination, it's actually just a book about your imagination. That's not normal. I mean, let's look at even like TV series like Jordan Peele, fantastic director, fantastic writer, but he has form of discrimination added to some of his plays. Mine, if you like The Last Airbender, Avatar, The Last Airbender, it's literally just a mature version of that with a spice of Hunger Games. If I were to put a comparison, it is The Last Airbender mature with a spice of Hunger Games. So let me give you a little tidbit, a little synopsis. Okay? 10-year war just happened. The United States just lost to my version of the Soviet Union and Japan. And everyone knows about the Ring of Fire. They drop a seismic bomb which caused an earthquake in the Ring of Fire. Basically my version of the Pacific Theater for anybody who's a World War II fanatic. And they drop a seismic bomb that caused all the mountains and all the uninterrupted, is that a word? Yeah, uninterrupted volcanoes to erupt, like Mount St. Helens and Washington, things like that. When they erupt, it caused not only just a whole bunch of fire and lava to come out, but the smoke, the fog, all those ashes covered the United States. Well, you ain't got no sunlight, right? It's too cloudy. We saw what happened with the LA fires and stuff. Like, that's damaging to the area, the whole area. So there was a mass exodus from the United States all the way to what I made a national, like it's like a geoclimatic area in Dubai area, like the whole region of Dubai, where everyone exited out and migrated to that location. And it's controlled, where there's like, it's a huge glass dome. So everyone was there, and anyone who could survive, not everyone survived, everyone who survived went there. And when they all went there, they cured all your diseases, because now we're in a dome. It's controlled population. Everybody's diseases are cured. Now it's all like mixed race. Like everyone's one race. Everyone went to that one dome city if you could survive. If you couldn't, fend for yourself outside. Okay. Now, fast forward 200 years later, everyone's used to it. Everyone's normal. Everyone's the same. I call these humans Apixians, apex humans, Apixians. Well, outside of that dome, no one knows what's out there because it's been 200 years. It's forgotten. Different generations that came through, like 3-4 generations that went through, and they're feared. They're feared of what's outside. All right. So now we're in this dome. It's a utopia. There's a son who was born to these 2 extremely smart parents. And the son, his name is Shadrach. He's roughly 5 years old. And he was born to his mother and dad, and his mother is pregnant. He's a real cool kid who doesn't speak to anybody, but all the kids, they go through survival training. And what I mean by survival training is the knowledge of survival, right? He goes through survival training just in case something happens. You need to know how to fend yourself outside the dome. It's a just in case. That's it. Everyone has to learn. And he's really smart, kind of antisocial, but he's really smart. Well, the day that his baby sister, that's who his mom is carrying, the day that his baby sister is born, his whole world changes. He doesn't know why. So when she is born, they have to go to an industrial plant to do it with like some weird scientists and robots. There's robots all in the city as well, right? Because they've gotten used to it. There's AI robots and all that. Well, when they're inside the industrial place and they're giving birth, there was a robot that was helping delivering. And when the child was born, the mother was going through agonizing pain, and the temperature of the room erupted. Like it's just like it was like getting really hot, and the son and the dad is just like, what's going on? Well, after she was born, the mother, she had so many damages in her body that she succumbed to the heat that was burning inside out of her. Crazy, right? And the robot was just like he has the baby now. And then they called these 2 bodyguard robots that came in, and they said, we're going to take the boy, Shadrach. So they took Shadrach, and all there's left is this baby girl and the father, because the mother died from giving birth. Now, fast forward now to 12 years later. The little girl, her name is Avita. She's now 12 years old, coming back from school, just like her brother was, 2 totally different, parallel interests to the characters. She's more outgoing, she's more adventurous, she's got a little skateboard, all this stuff. 2 totally different characters, but she doesn't know that she has an older brother that's around. Like, doesn't know that her older brother's alive or anything like that. Just lives with the dad. Well, when she comes home from school, there was an incident where a human, a Pixian, like tweaked out on the robot, just tweaked out and had to get taken down. She witnesses this, so her emotions are really riled up. So when she gets home, the father is like, oh, how was your day at school, this and that, and she's like, oh, it's fine, it's another day. And they see it on the news. So when they see it on the news, the daughter, is watching it, and those same emotions she experienced erupts again. And the father is just like, oh crap. And when it erupts, the rain outside starts to reverse. Instead of raining, it starts to evaporate. Now, the father knows what that means. He's sitting there and he's just like, oh, the rain's, evaporate. Like, something's going on. Like, something's weird. Like, why is it evaporating? But he knows. He deep down, he knows. So he immediately calls her over. He's like, let's go. Let's go. She's like, what? What's going on? He's like, let's go. So they escape. They hijack a car. They try to go outside, the area. Try to go outside of the dome. As they're driving, police cop cars, they're chasing after them. So as they're chasing after them, the dad is just like, man, just stay calm. We got this. And they're getting to a gate where it's like a checkout, like same thing, like border patrol checkout. So as they get there, they scan the father, and the robot cops recognize him. Now the daughter has no idea what's going on, but the father just springs into action. And now he's like a combatant. Like, he's literally just like fighting these 5 cops. And then out of the blue, one of the cops was able to hold down the father because he was holding the daughter hostage. And when that happened, the cop, no spoilers, the cop was able to, let's just say the cop was able to harm the dad and cut his arm off. Yeah, cut his arm off. Cut the dad's arm off, and then the daughter erupts. When she erupts, ice comes everywhere, temperature starts changing, and now everyone's like, holy crap, like, what's going on with this girl? Then out of nowhere, a figure comes to save them all, takes down 2 of the cops, and comes in a motorcycle that one of the cops was using. It takes them outside of the city. Once they get out the city, they go into this whole area. I made this whole area. Sorry, my phone overheated. But the area is called Terra Mysterium, because it's a territory that they don't know. It's mysterious, right? And once they get out there, the daughter is like, Dad, who's this guy that you happen to like, who coincidentally saved us, kind of knows who you are, you're casual with him, you just lost your arm, like, who is this character? And they reveal that it's Shadrach, the brother, the son. He's now older. He became a mercenary. He was trained and he escaped, and he knew to come and, save his little sister and his father. So it's revealed that that's who he is. The mysterious thing behind it is, I wanted to create a world where there was a way to cure, like, get immortality by curing diseases. So when I tell people like, oh man, like, how can I make this about that? Well, there's animals out there that don't have to get the same, shots like we do. Like my dogs, for example, they don't have to get a flu shot or anything like that, but I also don't have to take heartworm pills. So that means they get different diseases that I don't get. So because of that, I'm like, okay, what if you was able to create a world where basically the humans were immune to every disease that ever existed in the world? And if I was like, all right, if I could create a world that's like that, how could I do that? And I was like, oh, so what about animals? So the animals that I was going to make, I was like, okay, we could say that a human is combined with like a pig, a dog, a monkey. That's normal. But I was like, there's mystical animals, phoenixes, unicorns, werewolves, etc. Well, the son, he's going to be mixed with a werewolf. And instead of it being, boom, just a werewolf, I was like, okay, let's make up 4 animals and make a werewolf. The first animal he has, which is very obvious, is a wolf. So he has characteristics of a wolf. And then he goes around my version of Northern Africa, Western Asia, and Europe looking for these animals, right? And the world's different. Remember, the world's completely different. So he's going around collecting the DNA of 3 other animals to become a werewolf while learning himself. So the title of the book is called Persona's Trek. Persona, identity, trek as in journey, finding yourself throughout this journey. And the sister, her power is, instead of it being like fire and ice, most people think, oh, she's got to be fire and ice. No. If I'm Superman and I have a ball and I throw it and it turns on fire because I threw it, is it because I have fire powers or because I threw it really fast? Well, that's kinetic energy. Kinetic energy controls if something, like with friction and everything else around it, if something can turn up or turn down in the sense of heat. That's her power. She can control kinetic energy. Well, the one thing in the world that has the most manipulated kinetic energy is liquids, like water. Well, because like if you turn down the kinetic energy inside of water, you could essentially freeze it. Turn it up, you could essentially evaporate it. Hence the rain, evaporate, right? Boom. Well, the daughter learns that she has that power over the course of book 1, 3-book series. Over the course of book 1, the father has the same power. The difference is he has to touch it to manipulate it. The daughter doesn't have to just touch it. She could touch it and it's around her because she's a conduit of it, So yeah, that's the story. It's amazing journey writing it, and amazing. I did everything myself. I created the cover by myself. I did all, like I paid an editor obviously and stuff like that. And, I did everything myself. Shout out to Amazon KDP. Did it all myself, and man, I want to finish the series. I know exactly how I want the series written, and I'm currently writing book 2, and I was very surprised by the amount of people who supported it, that want to support it, and now I'm out here telling my YouTube subscribers, there's a book that I have written, and this is the quick synopsis of the book. And long story short, to wrap it up, why did I write a book? I wrote a book because I'm not just an athlete. I'm not just a weightlifter. I'm not just a dog dad. I am a person with an imagination that I could do whatever I dream of, even if no one else thinks that my demographic can. So I'm here to show people that even I know how to have imagination and put it on a piece of paper and print it out for millions to be able to say, wow, that came out of Roland's mind. You should try it.